I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us for another beautiful episode of Boomerang. But hopefully you guys are having a great week. Like I said, we're on like day, I don't even know what it is, 14 or so of the whole COVID corona virus. So we're coming to you again remote from everybody's home or secret locations. But before we get started on this great episode, would love to allow my lovely co-hosts to introduce themselves.
Hi guys, I'm Missy.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Chef Beans with the Mental Cuisine.
And I'm your boy, Tanir Williams. And wow, another great episode of Boomerang. Always entertaining, always entertaining. So before we even jump into things like speaking about David and what's going on with him and in his situation, let me get overall thoughts, starting with Missy. What'd you think?
I really like this episode. I'm happy they kind of showed David this time and like his journey. I'm happy he's back in the church. You know, I was very surprised that John brought him up on the like podium or whatever. I think that's the word. Yeah. So I was like, what? What'd you say? Wait, did Chef Beans?
I said podium is good.
Yeah. Okay. So he was up on the podium and I was so surprised and I was just like, okay, you got this. And I was like really happy for David in that sense, but I was actually happy to see Tia too this episode because like she wasn't really in the last one. So I was happy to see what she's up to.
Right on. And Chef?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode as well because David's character, it seems like sometimes he just like the parsley or like the sprinkles on everyone else's situation. So to see us tap more into him in the spiritual warfare that he's going into, I really enjoyed that segment of this episode.
Nice. And since we're on that, I mean, let's just go ahead and dive right into that with David. So we see him, he accepts basically the invitation to go to John's church that we saw in the previous episode. So we find him, he finds himself in a Sunday service. And it was interesting because, well, first thing I noticed was the young lady who sat next to him in the service. And so wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts on that. I mean, are we going to see it looked like there was a little maybe rekindling, kind of going on in terms of maybe him finding some love, even though we've seen that before with David. He had someone I believe in season 1, I believe there was someone that he thought, maybe that might be the one, but I'm feeling maybe he found himself the church girl. And maybe there might be a little spark going on there. So what's your kind of initial feelings of the new girl in David's life, Missy?
I feel like I think he just liked her because she was very prepared, because he was looking for a Bible in the pew and he couldn't find one. She's like, oh, you can use my iPad. He was like, oh, she's prepared. I mean, it would be cool to see her more. Obviously she gave him her number, so like that was super, but I feel like she was impressed by him going up there and sharing about his personal life and connecting it with everyone. So I can kind of see them, being friends and, maybe a relationship will come from it. I don't know. It would be nice though.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that as well because we saw in season 1 how David in that situation happened with the girl that he was very fond of. He felt horrible afterwards and he probably felt as though he moved pretty fast in the last situation. So maybe David might take this as an opportunity to be, I guess, more patient. And I like that he took this opportunity to be vulnerable with this new congregation because I'm pretty sure his confidence was impacted being that his church that he was leading before isn't as like, I guess has as many people or isn't as polarizing as John's. But I was just very proud of David for, I guess, taking this new step into like his spiritual growth.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Chef, because like you said, he kind of started going down the route where he was like, hey, my church closed, and it was kind of like he got sympathy from the crowd. And then he was like, you know what, I'm lying right now. And you heard some people in the crowd like, oh, like, why you lying in church? And then when he was like, I'm gonna just be real, like I walked away, I kind of gave up. And you know, you kind of saw the people pick him back up again. And I think he felt that. And, you know, to go back out again, or when he was walking back out to the crowd, you know, going out, you kind of could see like, okay, like, man, this, you know, they didn't like tear me apart, or the fear that I was feeling wasn't, I don't think, quite as bad as I thought it was. So like you said, I think he's kind of building himself back up. And you almost feel like, man, maybe I found, he's like, maybe I found a home for myself here. And then obviously when moving forward on that, when John kind of takes him behind the curtain, you know, you're kind of like, whoa, like, what did you guys think of the whole kind of John situation? Did you kind of feel that he was already kind of like this from the previous episode, or are you like, oh, here we go? Like, Chef, what'd you think?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my phone is. Missy, what do you think?
You know, John's very, he's very, he definitely gravitates toward the millennials, for one. And two, I think, you know, David likes John because he kind of gives him that whole like mentor preacher vibe. But I just want to talk about his office really quick, because first of all, it was shoes on the wall. Right. It was so not what I was expecting. Like usually like pastors, you know, office are just very like plain, like neutral base. His was like, he was an owner of a store. Like, what is going on? So I think he wants David to loosen up a little bit, because he talks about his wardrobe and all that. So he's like, no, like, what are those shoes? What are these pants? Like, you gotta look the part. So I'm thinking he's gonna be super helpful towards David.
What I'm noticing about a lot of like modern day pastors now, especially ones who have been preaching for a long time, I'm noticing on social media, they're wearing the jerseys, they're wearing the Jordans, they're wearing all these different things. But even from the psychological aspect, I feel like a lot of millennials / Generation X, they aren't really leaning towards the whole religious thing. They're kind of shying away from it. So what a lot of pastors have been doing is, hey, look, don't look at church as these old men in these box suits with these dress shoes. Look, I know about the Jordan ones. I know about how many points LeBron just scored yesterday. So it's kind of like letting them know we can meet eye to eye on a cultural base, but I'm trying to take you spiritually to the next level. That's what I've been noticing in our current days. So for John to do that, I'm like, okay, I see what's going on, because like I said, we were used to seeing preaching as like well, you gotta do this, son, and look at me, but it's a new day.
Right. Oh, I like that approach 100, just because it's like very genuine and authentic. It's not like putting on like an act. So, but I don't know. John's, I don't know. He kind of bothers me. I gotta figure him out though.
This is not quite sure. You know,
I feel like his persona can be kind of like disingenuous, because he just wants to bring in the millennial, what like Jeff Beans was saying, like just the millennial culture. So I was like, is this truly him, or is he just trying to get everyone to follow him and like what he's saying? I don't know.
Well, it's interesting, because I totally agree with John. Well, actually, both you guys. Like, first of all, I feel like you said, that the new age, or you know, the new younger pastors now, it's like, hey, we got to connect with the people where they're at, you know. And so like you said, a lot of it is on this cultural, like, hey, it's the shoes. It's like, I'm on Instagram, I know how to use like social media, and you know, like you said, even the dress, he's like wearing the jean jacket, and you know, he's got the hairstyle and all that kind of stuff. So but at the same point in time, it was interesting, because when he told David like, hey, you got to up your shoe game, you got to wear it's more like, okay, are you more focused on like how I gotta look, or I gotta have the certain things, or are you really concerned with like what's, you know, I don't know, like you said, Missy, I'm like, I'm wondering, does John will he take it too far, where he's like, hey, like I'm kind of obsessed with this stuff? Because like you said, you walk in his office, he's got the shoes on the wall, you're like, okay, wow, all right.
And he's pouring him drinks. Like, why? Wait,
that was
like, wait, hold on. Why is he pouring him like bourbon or whatever it was? It just, I know he's trying to make him like loosen up and like not be as stiff, but like I felt like that was kind of like inappropriate, because like we're at church. Like I just felt like it was just weird. Like, what's going on? Like, are we at cocktail hour? Like, we at happy hour? Or like, I'm confused.
Oh no, you know what, Missy, you're right. Like, I guess you're right. I guess trying to unravel John's true intentions.
Yeah, like I feel like he comes off kind of like he's not authentic with who he really is. Like I low-key kind of think he's like not a scammer, but he's for sure like up to something. He just gives me vibes. I don't know.
I honestly thought when he poured the drink, I thought it was going to be like, hey, it's okay. It's just like apple juice or something, you know, but it was just like,
No.
oh, go. Because I was thinking, and I wanted to put it to you guys. I mean, like, if your pastor came and was like, hey, yeah, let's sit down and take a drink, would you be like, oh, okay? Or would you be like, yeah, that's my pastor. He's cool. Like,
I would just be like, right now? Like, like
Honestly,
no.
I'll probably be like, I'll take the drink. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, like, I would be like polite. If someone's pouring me a drink and they give me a drink, like I'll like take a sip with you, especially if we cheers. But it's like, I wouldn't continue to drink it because I'd be like, this is weird, but I'll be polite because you're trying to, you know, take care of me as like a guest. But like, I don't know, his vibe and his intentions maybe aren't clear. So
right. Well, you even saw it in David's face. Kind of when he gave him the drink, he was like, okay.
When he was
you know,
buying those shoes, he like kind of looked like he didn't want to buy them because it wasn't him.
well, it was interesting because I felt like you kind of saw a transformation. Like at first he was like, you know, going through trying them on, but at the end, you know, kind of he's kind of looking. He was just like, yeah, I can feel this. Like I feel, you know, good. So I'm thinking like, is David going to be going through a little transformation of himself? You know, like I'm thinking like maybe hanging out with John when he starts hanging out with his friends again, they might be like, oh man, David's all cool now, like, you know,
Right.
like, you know, type thing. And is he going to compromise maybe who he is by maybe trying to straddle this line of being cool and maybe where, because he seems very traditional, just, you know, with his religious background and maybe trying to move into this. Well, I'm also thinking if there's going to be a conflict with his new lady, and then maybe he starts hanging out, you know, with the friends again, and what's her name? Maybe Crystal's like, oh, okay, he's cool. And then he's like, yeah, I got this new girl though, who's like the cool, you know, the new cool girlfriend. And I don't know. I think they're setting us up for some stuff. But
Oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, the thing with David, I noticed when in season 1 when they had the flashback when he was at college, he was a lot more laid back. And then we see the current day David where he's very militant, churchy. This is who I am. That's bad. That's good. And it wasn't until he had the situation with Homegirl last season, the one night stand, or whatever you want to call it, to where he had this crazier spiritual warfare. So now current day, he meets John, and I think now, if ever, he's having this identity crisis because his perception of the church was very one side of the coin.
Right.
This is what it's supposed to be. John showing him a different side with the congregation, the size that it is. So I think in his mind, he's trying to figure out, how can I impact the people the way that I want to? Here's a guy doing what I want to do with this look. Maybe this is the way I got to look. So I think that's why he's even leaning into that, because he's trying to figure out how he can still be David, but also have the impact that he knows he can have.
Yeah,
like you said, it would be hard to argue with the results of what, you know, John's done. I mean, like you said, in terms of the size of the congregation, people seem to love him. It's like a cool, fresh, you know, thing. And like, who wouldn't want to be part of that? Or, you know, and like you said, I feel like Missy was saying, is that the way that John maybe gets people in? It's kind of like with maybe if he's doing something underhanded, it's maybe like, hey, look at the shiny, you know, we got the shiny church, or we got stuff going on. It's, you know, packed every Sunday. And then, because he's like, I mentor a lot of other pastors like you, or like up and coming people, you know, like yourself. So I'm wondering if that's all gone well, or if there's some people out there who are like, hey man, you know, that we're going to run into that and be like, be careful, you know, type thing.
Right.
So
I feel like I interpreted like the shoe scene as not as like, I'm accepting this. I think when he was trying on the shoes, he was really like, you know, I think he was just not concentrating, but kind of thinking about like, should I do this? Is this the real me? I think that's how I understood the scene, just because it was all just very abrupt, like how he's like, change your look, change your style, buy these shoes. And like, I think him sitting there was like, he was thinking like, do I really want to buy these? And is this me? Is this going to attract like people coming in? So I feel like maybe like next episode, we'll see David kind of progress toward the new David, or maybe trying to figure out a way to go about it, but not change entirely. I don't know. We'll see.
No, that's a good point. Like you said, I feel like there's definitely something underlying there, and you know, I feel like he's going to get exposed to it, and then, like you said, he's going to have to make a decision. Like, man, maybe things are going to go well for him, and it's just like, dude, do I give this up because of like you said, Chef? Maybe it compromises his old school beliefs, but if things are going well, it's kind of like, oh man. Plus, he's in the church. He's in something he's wanting to do. So, like you said, there might be that that internal struggle, that's going on. So, and what did you say?
Can we talk about Tia?
Oh yeah. I was actually about to move on because I think I was last thing on those two, just with Ari and when they were doing the Taco Tuesdays on a Sunday, I was like, what is going on right now? Because they had literally like a 30-second scene. I was just like, they just kind of threw that one in there. Like that was kind of
random.
Yeah. It was. And then like the kind of the not hanging up the phone and then like, oh, he's still there? All right, dude. So yeah, so that was it. But so moving on to the other huge storyline of the night, definitely with Tia and the strip club. So first off, first scene of the show, is just pops off with the music. She's in the club being carried by the dudes. And, she's coming in, doing her thing. Money's flying everywhere. She's like kind of the celebrity of the night. Come to find out that all the club is not really in favor of her type. Not just her, but people like her, the celebrity dancers or whoever come in for the night. And, it was interesting because when they were in that locker room scene or in the back, you kind of saw it from both sides. Because I was kind of thinking from Tia's side too, like, hey, when celebrities come in, that's going to bring in a big crowd. I thought like, hey, all boats rise, or what is it? All boats rise with the rising tide, or something like that. I forgot.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting down, man.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So basically, like, hey, when I come in, I'm bringing in more business, and that should be good for everyone. And the one girl was like, that's not necessarily the case, So kind of how did you guys kind of feel when they referred to as the 1%er stripper chef? Kind of what did you think of that dynamic?
Well, I'm not well versed in the stripper club world. Let me lead with that. But from my research,
Right.
my research and what I've heard. No, like seriously, so you have your everyday strippers or whatever who's kind of like the regulars. But then, like she said, the superstar ones that might have been flown in from Miami or Atlanta or Texas, when they come in, a lot of things are already inflated because strippers get taxed by the club anyway. So I think when she talks about that 1%er, she's like, you're only passing through. Like you already pretty much have the money that you need to do whatever you want to live. And this is just more money. Us, if we don't show up certain nights, if we don't show up every night that we have to, I won't have food on my table. So I think that's where the clash came from, as far as like, you're just here as like an ornament, but we're actually like roots to this location. I just thought about that off the top.
No, I 100% get Chef where he's coming from, especially, but also like, I feel like just like whenever like a new girl comes into like a new job, girls are just going to be mean regardless. Not every time, but most of the time, just like coming in, they're just going to be kind of hard on you, question your intentions. Why are you here? Like, so they were kind of just giving her a hard time. I feel like, but they were definitely for sure like mean about it. They were kind of rude. Like they really didn't care. Like I can tell like Tia was trying to like, yo, like sis, can I borrow like a makeup wipe? And she was like, absolutely not. She didn't say that, but she said like, so I think they were just being hard on her, but it's not like that every time. It's just in some situations, girls just can be mean. So I definitely saw that as a girl perspective. I was like, oh, okay.
Right. Well, it was interesting because, and also the way that Tia took it in, because I mean, she could have easily been like, yeah, I am the 1%er. And so, I'm coming in and doing that, but it really hit her hard because, at one point she had brought up, she's like, hey, I started in the clubs. And, the girl was like, yeah, but you left, which is interesting because it brought up a point that I thought about, like you see also in like hip hop culture, like people who always want to keep it real, and then it's like a rapper comes up, makes money, they move out, into a nice neighborhood, get them the big house and stuff. But it's like people back in the hood are still mad at them, like, oh, you left. And it's like, but I'm like a millionaire now. You expect me to stay in the projects? Like, it doesn't ever make sense to me. So,
there's always going to be haters. Hello?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and even to speak to what Tanira's talking about, I wanted to enhance my quality of life. Saying what it's like, I made the sacrifices, I put in the work to get to where I'm at now. So you strippers are only projecting the unhealed parts of yourselves. Not to turn this to a therapy session, but that's all it is. It's like you're projecting your own insecurities. That's why you feel the type of way that you feel.
Right. Because everybody know, like, if they were in the same situation, I don't think they'd be at that particular club. Even if, let's say they even wanted to stay in stripping, but they'd probably be at a nicer club or maybe a higher end place, you know, like you wouldn't probably stay, if you were doing well, you wouldn't want to stay in that, especially knowing those conditions that they told about, you know, where they're like, hey, you know, they roll out the red carpet for you. And the girl's like, they don't even vacuum the carpet, you know, normally, or, you know, they don't have the health insurance, all that kind of stuff. So, but it's also one thing I thought about, and maybe I'm just playing devil's advocate. I don't know if we'll get hit up by some strippers or exotic dancers, but I was thinking also when she was saying that, like, hey, we got to be in here grinding, but also on the other side of my mind, I'm thinking like, but this is not like the only job that you have, like option you have, is it? I mean, like there's other stuff you could probably like.
But little do they know is I feel like it's all like a performance on Tia's end because Simone's like paying her. So like I just don't get it. They never really explained that. So I was like, what's going on here? I feel like I'm like, don't know the full context of what's going on. Because she's like, I don't understand that. They didn't really talk about it, but they don't know that.
Yeah, it was it was interesting because right before Tia wants to go start the revolution, you know, I mean, she sees the one girl who comes out with the guy, and she says she was about to give either a lap dance or just a regular pole dance, and the girl says $40, and he's like, what? Like, I never paid more than 20. And, you know, the girl kind of gives her this look, almost like, see, this is what I'm talking about, you know, type thing. And then the guy throws the money on the you know, the stage, or puts it, you know, type thing. And so when she's helping the girl who busted her ankle, what was her name? I forgot. She's like,
her name, I don't know her state. What's her? I know her real name. Her real name's Dorothy.
Dorothy, that's right.
But I don't know her stage name. It's like like Dream or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Yeah, it was kind of like when she was like, yeah, we don't need to be getting mad at each other. We need to get up against these owners and stuff. So I think obviously something's going to be brewing on that tip in terms of it. But it's kind of like, I'm really interested to see what you can do against, because like you said, that seems like a power dynamic where it's like the owners truly have all the power. But it's like,
absolutely.
But it's kind of like, I don't know. It's interesting because it's like, yeah, they set the rules, they dictate everything, but really, like, if you don't have the girls in the club, it's like no one's going to be coming to your club. So, like you said, there is some leverage there, but it's just like, do they know how to use it or utilize it? And maybe Tia's that one to organize, or I don't know, is she going to form like a union or something? I don't know.
Strippers union,
right?
Not a bad
In which
idea.
case I would be that, you know, I don't want to, you know, if I had to be the head, you know, it's like, ladies, you know, come on, like we got to get to
I just like how Tia and Dorothy like shared a moment, and I don't want to, like, we're not really on predictions yet, but I'm like, oh, I want to see what happens in this.
Well, I think, like you said, seeing them break down, it was kind of like breaking down that hard exterior, and you know, she was like, hey, it's like she was saying, I think she was just saying like, hey, it's not like just you. It's kind of like what you represent. And like you were saying before, Missy, I feel like it was just kind of the hater that came out in them. And it's kind of like maybe she's at where they would love to be. And the fact that she's just, you know, it's kind of like one of those things that's hard to deal with sometimes. So people just like
she said something to her about the Golden Girls. Do you like remember? Because they were talking about her name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's where they connected. I was like, oh, okay.
Right. So, so that I definitely think it'll be interesting to see where that goes with, like you said, with Tia. Maybe if she's struck with a little, you know, something to help these girls out going forward, and she maybe use her platform for that. Right. Yeah. So like I said, I don't know. Any last thoughts on the Tia situation?
Now, I don't think this is going to be the last time that we're going to see Dorothy. Something's telling me it's not going to be the last time we're going to see her.
Same. I thought the same way. I was like, okay, I feel like something's brewing here.
Interesting. We'll be definitely on the lookout for that then. Well, real quick then, I would love to get into some predictions real quick on what you guys think is what's gonna happen going forward. We'll start with you, Chef, since you're rubbing your hands together.
I'm rubbing my hands like Birdman. Some predictions that I have. I feel like if we're gonna talk about David, I feel like we're gonna start to see David shape into not necessarily something else, but I guess shake off those shackles that he has about this old perception of what religion should look like and how you should navigate. But at the same time, if John does have any ill intentions, I feel like David's going to spot it when he's supposed to spot it.
Nice.
I'm excited to see David's.
That's my predictions.
Like where he's gonna go, but I also kind of want to see what happens with Tia and Dorothy, because they definitely shared a connection on the Golden Girls. They're both fans, and also, I think Tia kind of now has like a friend at the stripper place. There's no name. They didn't say like what it was called, but I'm looking forward to see like what happens with that, and then just I don't know. They didn't talk about Brittany. She wasn't on this episode, so like, what is Brittany doing?
Right.
So I don't know. Like, can we talk about her? I hope that, like, but that's not really a prediction. I just want to see her next episode.
She just wants to see her. Well, and my prediction is kind of like I'm on the lines with Chef. Like, I think we're gonna start seeing some more David, at least maybe for the next couple episodes. It seems like that could be, like you said, a topic that they dive into, because I feel like it not only will affect him, but it's going to affect the group in terms of maybe how they see him, maybe affect relationships. If he has some new, like I said, if he's kind of turning into maybe like the new cool guy, maybe that changes things, and we'll see if he's going to stay authentic to himself or his beliefs. And maybe they don't like the new David. Maybe they'll be like, man, I like the old David. If he gets like too cool or too big for his britches type thing.
He hangs out with those new group of people.
Oh, and did anybody notice the friends that wanted him to go out to eat? They kind of resembled like the guy who was asking him kind of had like Ari's hairstyle, and then there was like the other three girls, and the other guy I was like, man, I was like, they could be the church version of the regular friends, So that was kind of interesting. I don't know if anybody else picked that up, but hey, we appreciate you guys stopping by and listening to us, putting forth our ideas. Definitely let us know what you guys think is going on. Any predictions you may have. Let them know. Start Missy. Let them know where everyone can follow you at.
Hey guys, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Missy Bernier.
Nice, Chef.
And you can follow me on all social media.
Oh no.
Chef
That's tough because we didn't hear. I don't think we didn't hear anything you said. It was kind of breaking up. Say it again.
You can find me with a Z, or if you want to check out more information, chefbeans.com.
All right. Hopefully we got that in. You'll be able to check us out in the little summary if you guys can catch it out. I'm Tanir Williams. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at TanirW. That's at TENEREW. Again, you guys have a great week. Stay safe out there. Stay indoors. Don't be going out touching stuff and people. Stay indoors and wash your hands, wash your face, wash your body. Right. Wash your dirty neck, everything. We don't want this COVID just, going around. But you guys have a great week. We will be here again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a blessed week. See you guys later. Peace.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.